The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered an investigation into allegations of Nigerian Police Force culpability in the deaths and arrest of protesters during the August End Bad Governance nationwide protest. Amnesty, in a briefing published a few days ago, accused the police of using excessive force against protesters during the nationwide demonstrations between August 1 and 10. Killing at least 24 people in the states of Borno, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Jigawa, and Niger. In a briefing titled Bloody August, Nigerian government's violent crackdown on End Bad Governance protest, Amnesty said those killed included 20 young people, an older person, and 2 children. Responding in a press release by its public relations officer, the police in Abuja on Monday said the allegations appeared falsified and confusing, adding that Egbetokun had ordered an investigation into the matter. To discuss this, we're joined by member organizing committee End Bad Governance Movement, Lagos State Chapter, Taiwo Hassan. Taiwo, thank you for giving us your time. I would expect that it's a pleasure to have you. I would expect that the Amnesty report did not come as a surprise, but did you expect the response from the police? It does seem like they are speaking from both sides of the mouth, refuting allegations while ordering an investigation.
Well, I think that we have to commend the Amnesty International for that very remarkable report. And regarding the response of the IGP, I think that the IGP completely missed the memo. The Amnesty International specifically called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to constitute an independent probe and investigation. So from that point of view, the IGP is not expected to be the one doing the investigation, because in the real sense of the word, if you look at the report very well, you will see that it's the entirety of the police force in Nigeria that is being called out for their use of excessive force during the protest. What that means, therefore, is that even the IGP himself would have to be in dock where if a proper investigation is to be carried out. So for us in the movement, we think that the IGP ordering the probe is simply an attempt to try and cover up what has happened. Rather, we think that the IGP needs to step aside so that a proper and comprehensive and independent probe can then be done to unravel what happened.
Isn't that you being overly ambitious, expecting the IGP to step aside for an independent investigation when a statement has been issued stating on one hand that the police acted professionally? This is the public relations officer. This is the IGP. Do you expect that such a statement will allow for a proper investigation? I mean, indications from the statement will show any proper investigation.
I mean, that is exactly what I'm saying, that already the police is already showing signs that if the investigation is left to them, nothing will come out of it, because right there you have the...
Yes, I'm actually talking about you saying that maybe the IGP should step aside. Do you think that is possible at this time?
If we are serious about a serious probe into what happened, then it is possible, because, you know, it is clearly known, according to the principles of natural justice, that you can't be a judge in your own cause. If we really want to know what happened during the August protest, if we want to bring to justice those, you know, who have carried out these very terrible crimes against humanity, then we have to, you know, develop the confidence and courage to ask the IGP to step aside so that a proper probe can be done. And don't forget that the issues we have with the police regarding their protest is not just about the report of the Amnesty International. I mean, for instance, you know, we in the movement in Lagos State and in the Youth Right campaign, we have evidence to support allegations of torture, you know, against the IGP himself and the men working under him, like within the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Unit, which, you know, answers directly to the IGP. The national coordinator of the Youth Right campaign, Adaramoye Michael Lenny, spent 2 months at the IRT And for that period, he was subjected to all kinds of torture, sleep deprivation. So what that means, therefore, is that if we have a proper probe, most likely the IGP himself would have to answer to questions as to the conduct of his men, including men who take orders directly from him. Don't forget the case of the 76 children who were brought to court sometimes last month, who were malnourished, who have been clearly tortured. That happened while they were in the custody of the IRT. So what I'm trying to say, therefore, is that the IGP is directly, connected to all of these allegations of crimes against humanity. So he has to step aside.
Taiwo, I'm jumping on the part about those malnourished children that were brought to court. They were being sued by the federal government, right? And you're also expecting that this federal government will, call the police, go with the Amnesty suggestion that they should call the police to account for their conduct during the protest. Do you honestly expect an independent investigation from the federal government of Nigeria? And if you do, how expeditiously will it be carried out for justice to be seen to have been done?
I mean, you are very correct that it's impossible to expect that the federal government will do the right thing in this case. And that's why what we have to demand for right now is an independent probe panel constituted by, members of civil society, the media, the trade unions, in order to, try and ensure that none of the issues that have cropped up during this protest, are covered up. Because we also have the experience, for instance, of the EndSARS protest 4 years ago, where a judicial panels that were set up across the country, many of their recommendations were not implemented up to now. Even in Lagos State, for instance, what happened in Lagos State was what you would call executive rascality, because the panel actually made, a lot of findings that indicted, the Lagos State government, the army, and the police. But instead of carrying out the recommendations of the panel, Lagos State decided, to do a white paper, of the report of the panel. And in that process, watered down, the findings of the panel, began to cherry pick the findings of the panel. So you are very correct that, the government cannot be trusted. And that is why what we should be talking about now is that civil societies, the trade unions, the media needs to come together to set up, and constitute a democratic and independent probe in order to unravel, the truth of what happened, identify those who are directly responsible to these crimes against humanity, and then recommend them, for sanction and for prosecution. But even when we say that, we still have to insist that the IGP cannot be seen to continue to occupy that office when over the past 4 or 5 months, we have had several accounts of misdemeanor, either by his men or men that are directly linked to him in the discharge of their duties. It is just completely crazy and completely unpalatable and disgraceful, that the IGP continues to stay in office when you have these different accounts of what the police have been doing under him. So I will again repeat that our demand remains that he must step aside. The IGP needs to step aside now for a proper probe into the conduct of his men during the August protest to take place.
The federal government has sued, even though that case has been taken out. Is there any indication that your members might likely counter-sue or sue on behalf of those who were victimized during the exercise? Are there perhaps any attempt at this?
Well, in Lagos State, we are preparing to sue the Lagos State Commissioner of Police as well as his men, for their conduct during the August protest and also during other actions that we have had since August, including, their attack on the peaceful protesters on October 20, 2024, the EndSARS memorial at the Lekki Tollgate, where about 22, peaceful protesters were brutally assaulted and arrested. So already we are preparing that. Most likely before Christmas, we are going to be giving the police a Christmas gift, which will be, a suit, challenging them, to come and explain why they violated our right. And what we have to do now, of course, will be to see how the demand of Amnesty International regarding, the probe into the allegations against the police nationally, how that will be received by the federal government. And I'm sure that if within a reasonable length of time, there is no positive response from the federal government regarding, constituting an independent probe panel, then obviously we'd have to consult our lawyers and see whether we can explore other options, including suing the Nigerian police and the army. Yeah.
Taiwo, I'm sure if there is any further development, we will be speaking with you again. Thank you for giving us your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.